Breaking news. A new front has opened in the long-standing conflict between China and Taiwan, and this time the battlefield is not in the skies above the Taiwan Strait, nor in the halls of international diplomacy, but in the telling of history itself. The dispute has erupted over competing claims to the legacy of World War II and who deserves credit for the Allied victory in Asia, particularly over Imperial Japan. China, seeking to reinforce its image as a global power and historical guardian, staged a massive military parade in Beijing. Tanks rolled through wide avenues, fighter jets flew in perfect formation, and tens of thousands of soldiers marched in unison as banners declared the heroism of the Chinese Communist Party during the war. Patriotic speeches by senior officials emphasized the communist resistance against Japan and claimed that without the sacrifices of communist forces, Japan would never have been defeated. The event, broadcast across the nation and amplified on social media, was more than just a commemoration. It was a political message, asserting that the legitimacy of the Communist Party is rooted not only in revolution but also in the historical defeat of foreign invaders. Taiwan, however, rejected this narrative outright, calling it a deliberate attempt to erase and distort the true record of history. According to Taiwan's government, it was the nationalist forces under Chiang Kai-shek, who later retreated to Taiwan after the Civil War, that fought the most decisive battles against Japan. They argue that the Nationalist army bore the brunt of the conflict, losing millions of soldiers and civilians, while the communists were comparatively less engaged until the later years of the war. Taiwanese officials accused Beijing of manipulating history for propaganda purposes, using the memory of the war as a weapon in its ongoing campaign to undermine Taiwan's international status and sovereignty. The government in Taipei issued a strong warning to its citizens, urging them not to participate in or lend support to China's commemorative events. They stressed that such activities, even symbolic gestures like watching parade broadcasts, play into Beijing's broader effort to impose a false historical narrative that delegitimizes Taiwan's existence. Leaders in Taiwan also pointed out that the Allies, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and others, recognize the nationalist government of China, not the Communist Party, as their partner during World War II. This, they argue, is undeniable proof that Taiwan's historical claim is stronger than Beijing's portrayal. The controversy has sparked passionate debate across both societies. In China, state-controlled media has flooded television screens and online platforms with patriotic programming, reinforcing the official message that the Communist Party is the true savior of the nation. Critics argue that this is part of President Xi Jinping's broader push to centralize power, control narratives, and strengthen nationalist sentiment at a time of economic slowdown and rising international challenges. In Taiwan, meanwhile, the story has dominated headlines, with politicians, historians, and educators discussing how to preserve their version of history in the face of what they call Beijing's campaign of historical erasure. Internationally, the issue has caught the attention of historians and policy experts. Many observers note that both China and Taiwan are engaged in a battle of memory, using history as a tool to justify their political agendas. For Beijing, controlling the story of World War II strengthens its claim not only to historical legitimacy, but also to leadership in Asia, framing itself as a natural defender of sovereignty and order. For Taiwan, defending its version of history is tied directly to its struggle for recognition and survival, since accepting Beijing's narrative would mean diminishing its role and identity. Diplomats and analysts have also weighed in. Some warn that disputes over history, while seemingly symbolic, can have real-world consequences, fueling nationalism, hardening political divisions, and even justifying future military or political actions. Others point out that this battle over memory comes at a time of heightened military tension in the Taiwan Strait, where China has increased its military patrols and Taiwan has strengthened its defense cooperation with allies such as the United States and Japan. In this context, the rewriting of history is not just about the past. It is about shaping the future. Ordinary citizens in Taiwan have expressed mixed reactions. Some feel anger and frustration that Beijing continues to deny their version of history and fear that the international community may be swayed by China's powerful propaganda machine. Others view the dispute as yet another reminder of the fragile and dangerous situation Taiwan faces, where even cultural and historical narratives are politicized and weaponized. In China, many citizens have rallied behind the official story, echoing state narratives on social media, while a smaller number of dissidents, often speaking anonymously, question why the Communist Party insists on monopolizing history instead of acknowledging the contributions of all Chinese people during the war. Historians globally stress that World War II in Asia was complex, involving multiple Chinese factions, Allied forces, and enormous civilian suffering.